Okay, so I'm going to show you how to rank for the keyword St. Louis probate lawyer. And this is a very valuable keyword on the local level. You can see it has a cost per click of about $13. So if you do the math on that, it would be a substantial investment just from the PPC side of things. So it makes perfect sense. You'd want to invest in SEO because you wouldn't have to make that investment in the pay-per-click. Now, with that said, you should probably do both. But in this particular video, I'm going to show you how to actually rank for this keyword. So what I did is I actually picked a random business who is ranking relatively okay for this. And it's actually this domain here. So we're actually going to go down here and we'll do show more and we'll see where they're currently ranking. So they're ranking number 42. And obviously to go from 42 to the first page, we're going to have to do a little bit of work, right? So that's what I'm going to be showing you here in this video. So a couple of key things. Let's start with the most obvious point. Whenever you start a new campaign or you're trying to rank for a specific keyword, the first thing you want to do is just go right into Google. And so the reason why you want to go into Google is just to get a broad idea of what we're seeing in the search results. So right away, a couple of things. We can see that there is a lot of advertising going on for this particular keyword. So we see that we do have this little block here and this little block here. So that means that it would probably make sense to actually advertise so you can get above the fold. It just makes sense. You're going to get more visibility. But then we also see that there is a local pack. So we're going to want to try to rank in the local pack above all else. And then after that, we're going to want to rank in the actual search results here, the traditional organic results. Now, here's a little tip for you. What you want to do is actually go into these directory websites. And this is really important because the goal in a case like this is we want to occupy as much SERP real estate as possible. So what we see here is we have tons of directory websites. In fact, almost every single ranking result here in the top is a directory site. Now, if you look at this, you'll see that one particular lawyer here, John Fritz, is just dominating, right? He's showing up everywhere. He's showing up right here in the actual ads. He's showing up here in the traditional results, and he's even showing up in the local pack. So he's doing really, really well. And so this is exactly what any business who's trying to rank in this particular vertical should be trying to do. Occupy as much real estate as possible. So what you can do is you can advertise, we can rank in the local pack, we can even rank in the traditional results, and we can even rank in the people also asked section. But on top of it, we can also rank in these directories. So if these are ranking, we should try to rank in these directories as well. We have one, we have another directory here. Once again, he's dominating. He's clearly doing this the right way. And we look here, we could rank in Yelp as well. We could rank in FindLaw. We could also rank in the actual Cornell website. And lastly, we could rank in Super Lawyers. So you should be trying to rank in all of these if you're trying to get as much visibility for your law firm as possible. Now, what I'm going to be showing in this video is how to rank specifically in the local pack and in the traditional results. So what you want to do is you want to download this SEO Minion plugin because we want to extract all those people also ask queries out of the search results because those become opportunities for us to create more content. So my search results are all weird right now, but once you've downloaded the SEO Minion plugin, just go over here and you can do download or copy. I just do copy because once you run this, it will automatically copy it to the clipboard. But go into here and there's all kinds of things that this extension can do. But what we want to do here is just the people also ask. So you can go super deep and collect as much as possible. If you're just trying to do a quick one, this will collect a good amount. So this will take about 5 seconds. We'll just do go, and it's going to start to collect all of these people also ask opportunities, okay? And it copied about 11, so we copied those. And then what we did is went over here and just add it into this little sheet here. So how you go about organizing, obviously in my Gotcha SEO Academy program, I have a complete keyword research template. But for this example, I'm just gonna show you what it would look like broadly. So what we do is we paste all of these people also ask opportunities. And then when you're trying to build out content on the local level, you have to make a couple of decisions. First, you have to decide, should we answer this question on the page that we're trying to rank, or should we create a separate page, right? And so that's a decision that you have to make. But ultimately, what I like to do is I'll just look at the search results, right? And if I look at the search results and there's clearly a different set of results relative to the primary keyword, then I know I need to create a separate asset to support that keyword, right? It's simple as that. So, but one thing that's really important here is when you get all of these people also ask opportunities, you don't want to just go after all of these, right? Some of these are not even going to be relevant. For example, this one here in Texas, this is not relevant, right? So we just get rid of that. But what you really want to do is, since we're targeting St. Louis, we really want to focus on any queries that are specific to St. Louis. So let's go in here, we'll go to text contains, and then we're just going to do OK. And so we only found one, right? How much does a will cost near St. Louis, Missouri? Okay, so clearly we need to answer that question to continue to build our topical authority. But then outside of that, then we need to go to the state level. So let's do Missouri, and we'll see what we can find. And there's a ton of content available, a ton of ideas available for content right here, about 44 different ideas that we can dive into. So like I said, some of these may be answered on the same page, but a lot of these will need their own separate asset to rank for these particular phrases. And just by building these out, if let's just say you build a separate asset for all of these, you'd have 44 supporting assets that would build massive topical authority. So this is a very easy way to get a ton of traction with a smaller website like this without having to do a bunch of link building right away. And we'll talk a little bit about link building, but really the foundation of the success here on the local level is target these local queries. They're so powerful for building not only just that topical relevance. So like, for example, if we look at this one, how long do I have to file probate Missouri? Well, this is the topic here, right? So how long do I have to file probate? But then we add that geo modifier, which then makes it even more relevant to the specific location. So, because we don't want to really rank for this on a national level, because it's going to vary depending on the state or the location. So we want it to be specific to the location that we're attacking. Okay, so the next thing is you want to run a crawl on the website. So for this case, I ran a crawl using Screaming Frog, and then I exported the results. Now, right away, I found a bunch of kind of strange things going on. So I'll show you real quickly. So first, let's start with the non-indexable. And I always like to start with the non-indexable content just to make sure that there isn't anything weird happening. And the reason why is exactly what we're seeing here, right? So we have a bunch of practice area pages that actually are not indexable and they have no index tags on them. Now, this is a little tricky because if we go to this one here, it's not as obvious. So with the detailed Chrome extension, which is one little flaw I just noticed about it, is it only is going to display the first instance of the robots tags. Okay, so if you have two instances, it's only going to display. So it's going to say that this is indexable. But what you want to do is actually go to view page source, because this is actually not true. Okay, so if we search no index in the code, you're going to see that right here in this robots section, they have no index, no follow on this page. Now, like I mentioned, there's actually two instances of the robots file here, and it's giving two very strange instructions. We shouldn't have two of these, we should just have one. So there's something going on with this website. It might be duplicate plugins, coding issues, whatever it may be, but there's a problem here. And these pages, which are practice area pages, these should absolutely not have no index tags and no follow tags. These should be totally indexable. So this is a huge mistake. Now, that's just the first problem. The second problem is once we actually will add all these back in, you can see that they have the way this is set up is just not ideal, right? So if we look at just the title tag alone, I don't even need to go to the page itself to see that there's a problem. So right away it looks like there's roughly 5 different attorneys that work at this firm. Well, the problem is that pretty much all of these have the same title tag, right? At least these 4 here have the same exact title tag. So one for Peter and Leonard, but we're actually optimized for Deborah. Okay, so something is wrong here, right? So this needs to be resolved. This needs to be specific to whatever that attorney's name is. Pretty obvious. So that's the first thing. The second thing is when we look at this, we also have a bunch of pages that basically just have the same exact setup for their title tag. So St. Louis law firm is just repeated across this whole thing, which is not going to be ideal because we don't want to rank every page for St. Louis law firm. We want to rank it specifically to whatever that practice area is. So for example, if we want this to rank for St. Louis business formation lawyer, we want that to be the actual title tag. So we would get rid of all this stuff here and keep it specific to what that core practice area is. Okay. So, and then we could do obviously the actual law firm name here at the end of the title tag, right? So this is, and I'll be showing you what this should look like in the architecture, but this is what we should be doing is each specific page should target one specific keyword phrase. Very simple thing. Now going through here, they still have the hello world post, like this needs to be deleted. And then we'll go over here to the meta description. So once again, just however this got set up, some weird things were happening, right? I don't know if it was automated or someone was trying to do work quickly. I don't know what the case is. I'm just on the outside looking in, but all of these meta descriptions are super odd, right? It looks like they were scraped or something. So need to go through and create unique meta description. I'll be showing you in a second how to create unique meta descriptions, even if you're not a great writer. Okay, I'll show you how to do that. So next thing you want to do is see if there's anything else that's super alarming. Okay, so for the most part, nothing super alarming here. I mean, there's 2 pages that have kind of similar H1 tags here, but not a big deal, not a big deal. So the problem with this site is it just needs basic optimization, right? It's just, the site is not really set up to rank at all. So it just needs basic optimization. So here are a couple things that we're gonna do. The first thing we need to do is we need to actually build out the site architecture so it's nice and clean. So what I did is I found a bunch of keyword opportunities that are specific to what they do, and then we built out the architecture. So St. Louis probate lawyer, St. Louis estate planning attorney, and elder law attorney, St. Louis, okay? These are the keywords. It's about roughly 370 searches per month, and they're very low competition with the exception of elder law, which is relatively high for local, but these 2 are super low. So they should really have no problem ranking for this. And so what you'll see is we've mapped out all of these important pieces of this page. So the first is the URL structure. What is that URL structure gonna look like? Now, in this case, if they're just trying to rank in St. Louis, I'd go with a clean URL structure that goes directly to the root. So then for the title, keep it incredibly simple. We just want the primary keyword and the law firm name. The primary keyword and the law firm name. It should be as simple as that. It should be in the exact order that we're trying to go for. And just to keep some congruence, I would just keep these the same. Okay, so although this variation is slightly different, we're just gonna keep kind of the same cadence in this way. Now, here's the cool part. So we have, the next is the meta description, the H1, and the first sentence. So these are all areas on each page where the primary keyword should show up, right? So we need to get it in the URL, unless, with the exception of the homepage. So URL, title, meta description, H1, and first sentence, okay? Now you can also include the first H2, you can also include the last sentence, but I don't wanna go as far as that. This is just more basic. But the cool part about this is this meta description and these H1s and these first sentences, I actually generated this all with ChatGPT. So I didn't write this from scratch. So what I did is I just went into ChatGPT and I said, write an H1 tag for this particular site. And then it did write one that was very basic, but then I told it to write in a more friendly tone. So then it adjusted it. And then that's much better for an H1 tag, okay? So then we go into here, then I told it to write a meta description. The meta description was a little too long, so I told it to make it less than 160 characters, and then it made it shorter. Then once again, I told it to write a first sentence. It did that as well. And then all I did is I just repeated this for all of those. So within a few minutes here, I had all custom meta descriptions, H1s, and first sentences. I didn't have to write a single word. It wrote it all for me. And this will be sufficient on the local level. Each page is different, right? So that's all we're looking for, just slight variations, but really we're trying to achieve the same thing. Now, where you start to get unique is on the actual page level itself, right? So we want to make sure that the content here is really, really unique relative to any other page on the site, but also unique to any other website online, okay? But for these little simple parts like the title, the meta description, the H1, the first sentence, you can't really do much to make these super unique, so you can use ChatGPT to generate these for you. But like I said, the meat of the content needs to be unique and specific to whatever that core area and practice is, okay? So from there, all that we want to do is we can actually look at a few things here. Obviously, just looking at the site as a whole, like the design and the user interface, it's not bad by any means, but I'm not a big fan of having a huge block like this, just a random image that doesn't actually add any value, right? So there's no call to action here at all. There's just a big, huge image that's pushing everything below the fold. So we have a form down here that's pushed below the fold. I would much rather just eliminate this whole area and just push this way up to the top. So then we have the H1 here, we have a contact form all above the fold. We already have a number above the fold, which is great. We also have an address above the fold here, which I don't believe it's marked up with schema. And actually they are marked up with schema, so that's good. So they are marked up on that front, so that's a good thing. But as far as conversions and user experience, we don't want to just have a bunch of stuff above the fold that isn't adding to whatever the objective is, which is to generate leads, right? So this is a problem. We get rid of this, push this above the fold, have that contact form above the fold, and just make it easier for people to actually become a lead. Okay, that's all we're trying to do. Now, the next thing is we actually want to optimize this page using Surfer. So if we go over here, take a look, I ran it through Surfer. This is for St. Louis probate lawyer. And you'll see that they scored about a 36, okay? So we'll go over here to the audit, and we're gonna find that there's a lot of room for improvement here, okay? So first things first is don't even look at the true density, just immediately go to the word count, okay? So the first thing we do is is the word count even sufficient? So they have 715 words, we should get around 1,300 minimum, okay? So before you even think about doing optimization for NLP, you need to at least hit the word count and then optimize for NLP. So if we look at this, once you've actually increased that word count, you're gonna resolve a lot of this, but you can tell that there's just a lot of room for improvement. But the good news is when you need to add content to these pages, you can use these as seeds to ultimately create the content, right? So, and I won't, you could use ChatGPT, but I'm not gonna show you how to do that right in this video, but for the most part, we just need to include these keywords in the content. But before that, we need to make sure that it's long enough. That's the key here. So outside of that, once you've done those things, you've created the content that's long enough for each of these keywords and pages. You've optimized it with Surfer. That will probably on its own produce very big gains. I mean, the competition's so low on this, just by doing this and then also building out content using the people also ask, you're probably gonna be able to get to at least the top of page 2, maybe the bottom of page 1, just by doing this. But to take it to the next level, you definitely want to acquire backlinks, okay? So when we look at the backlinks, I took one of their top competitors, and this is really the only competitor outside the directories that's performing super well. And they basically just have links from citations, just local citations, directories. So we would just want to do the same thing. And so what you can do is you can actually use Bright Local to see the listings that a particular business has. So if we look at this Bright Local, we ran them through, they're missing tons of citations, like some of the most powerful citations. So it's as simple as just building more local citations, which should be enough to improve their local pack performance, but also improve their traditional organic results as well. Now, outside of that, there's no reason that they shouldn't be able to dominate this particular keyword because the competition doesn't have really any editorial backlinks. So with just some a little bit of editorial link building, getting links on relevant websites in the legal space, they should be able to dominate this no problem. So this is the process that I would go through is we're just narrowing these gaps or cleaning up the site using proper SEO practices. And there's just no reason they shouldn't rank if they do this. Okay, so it's as simple as that. They're not even going to need that many links. In fact, if we go and look at this, we'll go ahead and take a look. The amount of links that they're going to need is virtually none, right? I mean, Ahrefs is saying they're going to need roughly 2 referring domains, which is probably pretty accurate, but we also need to consider the fact that who is ranking in these spots. So we have a lot of authority, very strong websites ranking. But what I want to see is their weakness in the SERPs. And at number 6, we got a DR6, and at number 10, we got a DR2. So we're talking very minimal link building to get this to where it needs to go. So with proper on-page SEO, proper content development on these pages, and then building topical authority, this should do 90% of the performance gains. Like it should carry the gains very far just by doing these things. And then the links will take it over the edge and you should be able to rank pretty quickly and then maintain those rankings for a long time. So as long as you maintain consistent link growth and continue to stack on that topical authority.